Hey there everyone, Mr. Lewis here again to wrap up Unit 6 Political Geography here in AP HuG today by covering the fifth and final section, which is all about sovereignty and challenges to sovereignty. And our goal here today is to better understand how and why these challenges to sovereignty take place by sort of comparing and contrasting these two different processes, revolution and devolution. So, without further ado, our fifth and final section of political geography, let's dive into it. So, first of all, sovereignty refers to whoever has control over an area, whoever makes the laws, decides on the leaders, that sort of stuff. Whereas centrifugal and centripetal forces refer to either divisive or centrifugal forces, or binding centripetal forces, and either of these types can result in challenges to sovereignty. These challenges to sovereignty can take on many different forms, and they can come on for many different reasons: political, economic, cultural. But regardless of why these challenges to sovereignty are taking place, technology has played a key role in that in modern history, and we're going to look a little bit more at that toward the end of these notes. Either way, challenges to sovereignty may result in processes that we call revolution, devolution, and democratization, which is the push for a more democratic, free voting nation. Revolution and devolution are a little bit different. Devolution is the fragmentation of a state. Revolution creates a new state. Devolution is the fragmentation or the disintegration of a state that passes power down to more localized governments. So this could be, like we saw in section 6.4, a state becoming a federal state and dividing power to local governments. Or it could be that the state is a shatter belt, like we saw with Yugoslavia, which went through a series of civil wars and resulted in many different sovereign states today. Devolution, again, can take on many different forms. And it might come on for many different reasons, including economic downturn, ethnic separatism, which may lead to, as we've seen throughout history, unfortunately, attempts at ethnic cleansing. It may be social unrest where people simply refuse to follow the leaders or the laws that are in place. But devolution is when a state fractures and the power that was enjoyed by some central authority then dissolves to smaller, more localized sovereign territories. On the other hand, irredentism is this idea that one state may challenge the sovereignty of another by laying some historical claim to a particular section of land. And this is what we see taking place in the Ukraine today. In the eastern Ukraine, which is mostly Russian-speaking, Russia actually invaded and continues to occupy some of these territories and uses irredentism as their reasoning. So, evolution and devolution take place in many different regions of the world, as we've discussed, but Russia presents a really unique example. In 1917, we have the Russian Civil War, right smack dab in the middle of World War I, and by 1922, that creates the USSR, this collection of Soviet states. So they go through this big revolutionary period, but by 1989, economic downturns and revolutions within these Soviet states led to the dissolution of the USSR. So you have all these revolutions taking place in 1989. Poland, Germany, Czechoslovakia through the Velvet Revolution, Romania, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania all declare independence. And then finally, as we've learned, you have the Yugoslavian conflicts. But by 1991, the USSR has entirely collapsed. And what we see taking place here is devolution. They become officially the Russian Federation, and to today, Russia is a federal state. They divided this power. They dispersed sovereignty to local regions in many ways, and we get the creation of all of these other sovereign states who are taking back control of their countries. This is a great example of devolution in action. And of course, fast forward a few years and we have Russia sort of getting hungry for some of this territory again and using irredentism as justification. In today's world, technology contributes in a huge way to democratization, revolution, and devolution. Simply put, communication technologies today make it so much easier to form these collective movements and keep everyone on the same page and continue to act and recruit people for these movements that can lead to revolution and devolution. And we've seen this take place most recently in the Arab world. In North Africa and Southwest Asia, there have been many revolutions aimed at democracy. And what we've seen is that Facebook and especially Twitter helped lead to these movements. Now, what they become, it remains to be seen, but one example is Tunisia. In Tunisia, there was a revolution that was sort of established online and ended up leading to a change in sovereignty and a change in politics to an entirely new government, and a democratic one at that now holds fair and open elections, whereas they didn't before. And that's one example of how communication technologies today can contribute to these movements, these revolutions, and in many cases, devolution. Also, supranationalism, some people would argue, is a challenge to sovereignty in itself. Remember, supranationalism is when multiple states organize for some common purpose, politically, economically, whatever it might be. And there are many different examples of this. We're involved in one called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, which is more about military and defense. But we certainly trade and sell goods to one another. Most of the time, those are defense related goods. But we're also in the United Nations, the UN. That is also a supranationalist organization. There are other examples, ones that we don't belong to. The European Union, which is an economic sort of organization in Europe. The African Union, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So there are many different examples, but some people would argue that supranationalism can be a threat to sovereignty if these groups can in some ways limit the actions of the sovereign states within them. For example, if we wanted to take an action and the United Nations voted against it, what do? And we've been in that position before, but that's one final way that potentially supranationalism could be a threat to the sovereignty of an individual state, or at least potentially inhibit their actions. But some people would argue that's a good thing. But either way, that is it for Unit 6. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's all, folks. We will review next week. The test will take place next Friday, 1 week from today. So we've got all next week to review, and we'll get you good and ready for this test. So thanks again. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week.